Howdy folks, Tex Grebner here with Tex Grebner Outdoors. New videos every Saturday, so if you don't want to miss out on your Tex Grebner Outdoors Saturday morning cartoon awesomeness, make sure to click subscribe, check that notification box, and check my channel every Saturday for new videos. I love reading your comments, and I really do appreciate all of you that watch. Today, we're going to be talking about what makes a bow center shot, how to tell if a bow is center shot or not, and why center shot is actually important. Now, I do read your comments, and this is in direct reply to a viewer comment. I love reading your comments, and I really appreciate all of you that watch. Also, I wouldn't know what to do with myself if I didn't exist in a perpetual bubble of hate mail. So if you want to support the channel, it ain't going to cost you a dime. All it's going to cost you is just some time to make sure that you share this video with all your friends on all your social media outlets. This by no means is my complete bow collection. However, I've got some talking points in here to explain how center shot works, as well as how to tell if your bow is in fact center shot. The British longbow was the AK-47 of its day. With that being said though, representative of another ancient bow style is this composite bow, which is reflective of the ancient Greeks, the ancient Romans, the Huns, the Mongols, the ancient Koreans. This is basically your Eastern style composite bow that centuries past would have been made from combining horn, glue, and wood into a bow. However, it is not center shot. As you can see, there is no arrow shelf here at all. Now, while I do historically respect this bow, it is in no way, shape, or form the bow that I would ever recommend somebody getting into archery with. Not ever. Because it's not remotely user-friendly. There's a reason that these dudes were such badasses. Now, this is obviously also not center shot. This is a PVC bow that I bought off of eBay. I have an incredible disdain for PVC bows. This is a Martin Jaguar. Now, as you can see, it has a rest here. This rest is important because this bow is cut way past center. So you have to actually screw this rest out in order to bring it to center shot. Just as a drastic comparison side by side, as you can see, the arrow rests directly on the side of the bow. As you can see, the arrow rests upon a rest. This is a small youth bullseye bow, and as you can see, I've got a strike plate here, because this is also past center, so you can use a screw-in rest, or you can build it out with a strike plate. This is what I believe to be a Mandarin duck, but who knows? I bought it for $100 on Amazon. It is also cut past center. As you can see, it's capable of taking a screw-in rest, but I have it built out to center shot with a strike plate here and a strike plate on the bottom, and I've got plenty of fletching clearance here. But as you can see, it's painfully obvious between that bow and this bow that this is center shot or just beyond center shot, and this is basically a hunk of wood sandwiched between fiberglass limbs with wood on the tips. So when this bow exists, and it is a $100 bow, and it is center shot, that is why I have such disdain for the waste of money of PVC archery. Now, in the last video that I made on that $100 Amazon recurve, I got a lot of comments on the Samick Sage here. The Samick Sage, as you can see, is radiused just past center. So you can either use a strike plate, or in this case, I have an adhesive rest on it. And of course, one of my pride and joys, this is my Martin Hunter, which is cut to center. You had to be a real badass in order to be successful with a bow that was not center shot. And using modern arrows, it can be very difficult with an off-center bow to get good, clean arrow flight, so you're not going to end up with training scars because the arrow is going to be coming off at an angle. And so you're going to have to figure out if this is what you're bound and determined to use, an arrow that will flex back to the center line once it leaves the bow. This is the $100 Amazon bow that went pretty much viral on my channel. But this bow, as I mentioned importantly, is cut past center, or is made past center. The reason that is important is because the longer that an arrow is, the weaker it is in its spine weight, or its dynamic spine. The shorter an arrow is, the stronger its dynamic spine weight is. You ever tried to fold a piece of paper until you can't fold it anymore? Works kind of like that. The shorter it gets, the harder it is to flex. Now, the archer's paradox and all of that is all well and good. It's complicated. It's fine. I tend not to worry about that because I like center cut bows. Bows that are cut to center, you don't have to get super complicated with it, because even though this arrow is intended to be shot out of a 70-pound compound bow, because the bow is cut to center, the arrow is going to be coming out of there straight. It doesn't have to flex back to the center line. It can fly out of here like a rebar, and it's still going to hit its mark, and it's still going to land straight. Now this arrow is still way too stiff for this bow. This is the arrow that I shoot out of my Martin recurve in 75 pounds. But I also can shoot it out of my 100-pound composite bow fairly accurately. But it's still way too stiff for this bow in 50-pound draw. Flies out of there like a rebar, but it flies out of there and hits the target straight because we're cut to center. Actually just past center on this one. So let me just go down here and show you what I mean. Because when you're just getting started into archery, you're probably not going to know about how to properly tune your arrows. And you can develop some real wicked training scars, like aiming 5 feet to the left of the target the further away you get, because your arrow's not going to have the flex. Shooting carbon arrows out of a non-center shot bow is damn near an art form, because they're designed for the extreme stresses of compound bows. So as you can see, they both hit the mark and they both went in straight. So now I'm going to shoot these 2 arrows out of the 100-pound composite bow. Now, historically speaking, I love that composite bow. But practically speaking, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy to try and learn how to shoot one of these things with carbon arrows. No, I would not. So even though this composite bow is a $100, 100-pound composite bow, this compound bow arrow is still going to be way too stiff for it, because as you can see, it's off to the side. And it flew completely wild of where I was aiming at. Now this arrow is going to fly properly out of it because I've already double checked everything and found out that this arrow will work out of all my heavy draw bows. But even at 100 pounds of draw weight, being off center, I still did not have enough force to actually properly flex that arrow that was cut down short to withstand the massive forces generated by a compound bow. That time, I hit my mark. But it is very difficult to learn how to shoot an off-center bow. As you can see, there is no arrow shelf. I'm shooting off of my hand. And you also, if you're using arrows that are too stiff for the bow, have to aim over to correct that. I mean, I really hate the fact that I missed the first shot. But as you can see, they are not in line with each other at all. And as you can also see, as I get directly behind the nock, this arrow did not land straight. This arrow did land straight. So the fact is, that's a practical demonstration on why I keep harping on the fact that you need to get a bow that is center shot. Now this bow here is center shot, and this is my 75-pound Martin Hunter. And I'm going to shoot both arrows out of this. They're both going to fly out just fine. And the reason that is because we are cut to center. We're actually cut just a little bit past center, which is why we put on these here strike plates. But now we're going to go look at my other shot. Because even though those arrows, one of them is still way too stiff even for this bow, they both hit straight and on the mark that I was aiming at. So it's not that big a deal. Center shot bows are important when you're new, because honestly, the most important part is being able to have fun with it with the tackle that you can afford to use. So I hope this explains the point satisfactorily. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. As always, God bless all my sportsmen of America. Join the NRA to protect our rights. Please check out my friends over at SOETacticalgear.com. Thank you very much to those of you involved in law enforcement and those of you serving in the military. And thanks for watching Texas Grebner Outdoors.